Hemp is part of Jersey's history. Le Cannabis derives its name from the cannabis that was grown there for ship's ropes. Now cannabis cultivation is returning to Jersey. It'll help the economy, building on Jersey's strengths in world-leading agriculture and highly regulated financial services. And it's transforming old glass houses into modern facilities.
Since 2017, when the Rural Economy Strategy identified hemp and cannabis as alternative crops, work has been underway to develop the industry. But what are its benefits to Jersey? It supports Jersey's economy. Cannabis cultivation diversifies the agricultural sector into a higher value crop, reducing its reliance on traditional crops in support of the Rural Economy Strategy. It plays to our strength. Both medicinal and wellness products require cannabis to be cultivated to a consistent standard. And after years of producing other crops to UK supermarket specifications, the production process provides opportunities for high-value employment, because while other agricultural sectors rely on different types of labour, cannabis requires specialist knowledge. It also provides a new market for financial services. The proceeds of crime law has been adopted to enable investors to have the end-to-end banking services that they need. The licensed cultivation, production and sale of cannabis in Jersey has been removed from the definition of criminal conduct, but transactions are only permitted between Jersey and jurisdictions where international anti-money laundering standards are met, and the cultivation and production and sale of cannabis is legal. There are also opportunities for high-value ancillary services to develop, including law, research and development, and of course shipping. Cannabis will help Jersey's environment by helping to revitalise existing infrastructure, including farm areas which have fallen into disuse, and by helping to reduce nitrates. Cannabis requires fewer nitrates, and with increased crop rotations, Jersey's water quality could improve and nitrate levels fall. Production in Jersey will reduce medicine miles. The medicinal cannabis prescribed in Jersey and UK is imported from Israel and Australia and elsewhere. If Jersey cannabis was supplied to the NHS in Europe, it would reduce the carbon footprint. Cannabis will generate revenue for the taxpayer through licence fees, through increased income tax, by lifting the earnings potential of employees in industry and ancillary sectors, and through a proposed tax rate of 20% on any company cultivating and processing medicinal cannabis.
Galleons and ships from around Europe and UK used to come to Jersey to get their sails replaced, ropes replaced, because we were known as producing a very high quality hemp. Traditionally the fibre is used for ropes, clothing. Nowadays it can be used as supercapacitor batteries and nano hemp for fibre. So they massacre it up in small particles, and they've introduced it into batteries which outperform lithium. The inside of the hemp stalk is known as shiv, which when separated through a process of decortication can be used as a building material. We are growing these particular plants for flower. So the end use for these particular plants will be CBD and other cannabinoids. So we produce food products and wellness products. We don't claim any medicinal benefits from our CBD, unlike the medical cannabis industry does. So when we're looking for harvest, it's the trichomes that we're looking for changing colour. If you had a real close-up look, you'll see there's tiny hairs all over the flower, and they've now started to turn amber. They will be white earlier in their development. So now we know that those pistils are changing colour, it's time to harvest. When we harvest here, we'll generally hang these plants. Once they're almost dry, we'll strip all the flower material from the stalks and put them through our dryer to just finish off before we put it into storage. Once it leaves the field, it's regarded as a controlled substance, and we have to record the process all the way through. So we have to weigh every part through every part of the process. And then any stock that we keep is stored on a controlled drug register that is available for audit from the chief pharmacist when required. It's part of the process that we will hang the flower and the plant in its entirety for several weeks to do that initial curing stage that again helps with encapsulating the quality and the good stuff that we want to keep in the flower. This bit of kit's called the Triminator. In effect, it's an oversized hotel toaster. After 4.5 hours, we get flower product coming out of the end that's been dried and is stable for long-term storage. All of the processes that we do, the farming, the cultivation, the processing, the storage of it, is all aimed at one singular thing, is to produce the best quality that we can and have it ready for the next stage in the process, which is sending it up to our labs for final extraction, where we will end up with our CBD oils and start producing final products. The storage needs to be a secure facility, which we're in now. It has cameras, it has motion sensors, it has alarms and prefabricated strong rooms where we store any of our flower material. This is the last stage of our extraction process, where we'll remove any unwanted cannabinoids, and we will collect the cannabinoids that we want to keep, and we will then have a compliant extract that we can use in the UK and beyond.
There are more than 100 cannabinoids found in cannabis. Cannabidiol, or CBD, and tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, are the primary cannabinoids. Chemically, they're very similar and both act on the cannabinoid receptors in the brain to affect the chemical messaging between cells. They have many of the same medicinal benefits, but THC produces a sense of euphoria while CBD does not. Wellness products contain CBD, which is legal to buy and use in both the UK and Jersey, provided that it contains virtually no THC. The cultivation, drying and processing of medicinal cannabis is in a far more controlled environment. Medicinal cannabis can be prescribed to treat the symptoms associated with many medical conditions. Muscle spasms caused by multiple sclerosis, nausea from chemotherapy, nerve pain, seizures and Crohn's disease. James is one of the 2,000 Jersey residents who are regularly prescribed medicinal cannabis, a number which could grow to 3% of the adult population.
I had an accident when I was 15, which left me paralysed from the shoulders down. I'm now 39, and I have a very active life with my friends and good social life. I discovered cannabis when I was younger with friends as a recreational thing. I then, years past, realised how much it actually made a difference to my life and my pain. Spasms were my main issue because of my spinal injury. And so every time I consumed some cannabis, they would just stop the spasms instantly. It really made the most massive difference to my life. Like, I cannot explain how much. And so now actually getting it on prescription is just a life changer. I wake up in the mornings, I wake up about 7:30. And I always wake up, most mornings, my body's really stiff. I have a lot of spasms, like, because of my spinal injury. And the first thing I do is I use one of my vaporizers with my medicinal cannabis. And after consuming, say, 0.2 of a gram, so 1/5 of a gram, my body is completely relaxed, my spasms have stopped, and I'm ready to get dressed and get up into my chair, which without using that cannabis, I would be so uncomfortable. I'd be in so much more pain. I get on with my day, I work online, and then throughout the day, my body might start to get a bit stiff, so I will consume more cannabis. When you have just a CBD, it will help with lots of elements on your body, but it won't make you feel drowsy or like you've had a light beer to a certain degree, to kind of compare the THC side. But for me, the THC and the CBD together is what works best, without a doubt. If I was just to have CBD on its own, it won't affect my spasms, it won't just stop them completely. But with the THC and the CBD together, massive difference. So the benefit of having it on prescription or be able to get it through the chemist all the time, you know that the quality is going to be there and it's going to be the same quality each time. It should have the strength, it should have the THC strength, so you know how much you're consuming. It's not like a guess on what you're going to have. It should tell you the CBD strength. You should not smoke the cannabis. So what you do, you have what's called a vaporizer. Then you get a grinder and you grind up the bud and till it's quite coarse. Then you put the ground up bud into the vaporizer. You're not combusting, so it's not smoke, and with a vaporizer, it's just the vapor coming off. So you're basically, the hot air is being drawn up through the herbs in the device to release the vapor. So it could be a conduction or convection vaporizer. So with the vapor, it's literally just the herbs, like essential oils, being released. They're much healthier way to consume. The vapor, it's like you could breathe in a Vicks vapor rub, when you've got a chesty cough.
Jersey's industry is very young, but it is already intent on not only meeting but setting international standards. The Cannabis Services Advisory Board has been established by the industry and is entirely independent of government. Its purpose is to articulate the interests of everyone in the industry, ensure that all entrants adhere to good practice and voluntary industry standards, and to market Jersey overseas. Jersey's government has the dual roles of supporting the industry's growth and regulating it. The primary form of regulation is through licenses. Licenses control the cultivation, production, possession and supply of cannabis and the controlled cannabinoids that are extracted. They're issued by Jersey's Minister for Health and Social Services through the Jersey Cannabis Agency, which has been established to license and regulate the control of cannabis. The application process includes a site inspection, interview with the applicant and confirmation by the Home Office that the application would be compliant with the 1961 UN Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs. The Minister makes the licensing decision based on recommendations by the Home Office and Jersey's Chief Pharmacist. And an advisory panel is being formed to help the Minister reach a decision. As with any other medicine, cannabis-based medicines are subject to the medicines law, and medicinal cannabis cultivated in Jersey will be inspected by a UK agency to confirm that pharmaceutical ingredients and medicinal products meet the same pharmaceutical standards as any other medicine. The industry is also subject to wider regulation. The States of Jersey Police Financial Crime Unit monitor financial transactions. There is separate licensing for imports and exports, and there are planning controls covering repurposing of infrastructure. The wider work of government is managed through the Cannabis Coordination Group, an internal government of Jersey group which, in addition to the regulatory bodies, includes health, economy, law officers, communications, treasury and environment. Political oversight is given by the relevant members of the Council of Ministers, ensuring that any support for the industry is aligned to government objectives. And a scrutiny panel reviews the justification for decisions.
There is a great potential for Jersey here. Jersey's medicinal cannabis could develop the same international reputation for quality as Jersey Royals or Jersey Milk. We can become a producer of a premium product which attracts a premium price. It could generate very positive returns to the taxpayer, provide employment, diversification in agriculture, improve Jersey's environment and create products that improve the lives of thousands of people.